This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so now let us talk about the next topic. So this is again important. I'll talk about something called document splitting. This document splitting is again very important in SAP. Now, when we talk about document splitting, you need to keep your financial reporting. We need to keep your financial reporting in mind when we talk about or when we understand what exactly is document splitting. Now, initially, when we talked about our company code or initial company code setup, we were talking about point number one. We talked about financial statements. In the financial statements, we talked about point number one, TB, point number two, P&L, point number three, balance sheet. When we mention about trial balance, P&L, balance sheet, this is basically at level one. I'll say level one, this is generated at company code level. This first level, this can be generated at company code level. Level 2, this can be generated at profit center level. Level 3 can be at segment level. Level 4 can be at business area level. Normally in standard SAP, in standard system, these are the ways where you can generate your financial statements. Point number one or level one is company code. This is mandatory. Generation of your financial statement, in short TB, P&L, balance sheet at company code level is mandatory because you must submit your reporting at your company code level, in short at your legal entity level. So no other exception to it. You must prepare trial balance, P&L, balance sheet. When you are generating TB, P&L, balance sheet at company code level, you are combining everything. When I say we are combining everything, all the transactions related to your organization are grouped together at company code level. Next one, based on the nature of a business that you are doing, you may be expecting to generate separate trial balance, separate P&L, separate balance sheet. As we understood for our BMW, we assumed that in BMW we will be having cars, we will be having bikes, we will be having spares, and we will be having services. We thought that BMW is dealing cars as a separate business unit, bike as a separate business unit, spares as a separate business unit, servicing as a separate business. According to this, BMW would like to see separate TB, P&L, balance sheet for cars. BMW would like to see separate TB, P&L, balance sheet for bike, separately for spares, separately for service. Because according to BMW, their investment or their line of business is completely different for cars, bike, spare and services. Now it is mandatory that their expectation is to look at the financial statement at the respective product level. At the respective product level, they want to look at their financial statement. Now how you are treating this product is the next question. Majoritarily, these products are treated as profit centers. Majoritarily, these products we will be treating as profit center. So this also becomes mandatory. Company code and profit center becomes mandatory in most of your projects, in most of your clients, wherever you work. Profit center is mandatory. Now usage of your segment, usage of your, this is optional. I'll put this is not used. I'll put, or I'll put this is very rarely used. So you can straight away ignore business area because this is very rarely used. Straight away you can ignore business area, focus only on these three. Company code is mandatory, no other exception. profit center is mandatory. For more than 90% of the companies, profit center is mandatory. When we know that profit center is mandatory, you must understand profit center level, we will be generating financial statements like TB, P&L, balance sheet. Segment level, it is optional. Segment level, when I say it is optional, you can generate at segment level also, but it is optional. Now you need to keep only these 2 points, especially profit center, in your mind when you're talking about document splitting. You're talking about document splitting, but you're not raising the point of a profit center. Whatever we know about document splitting is not practical, is not going to help us in reality. When you raise a point of document splitting, you must raise the point of profit center, and you must raise the point of financial statements. All these yellow dots must be connected when you talk about document splitting, because this is the main purpose why you are doing document splitting. Now if I want to generate my trial balance, P&L, balance sheet at car, bike, spare, service level, in short at profit center level. Now each and every transaction that I record must be classified according to my profit center. So when I say this, let's say I am writing an accounting entry. Those who are not talking, please be on mute. I'll write one accounting entry. Accounting entry at company code level. When I say accounting entry at company code level, let me put a simple accounting entry. Let's say cash debit, capital credit. Let's say I'll put cash account debit, capital account credit. I am going to write 1000 debit and 1000 credit. Now if I look at the total, my total is 0. Now we all know that the accounting fundamental is that we need to make sure, sorry, as per the accounting fundamental, we need to make sure any entry that you are recording in accounting, the debit amount must be equivalent to credit amount. If your debits are not equivalent to credit, your accounting entry is not valid. So here when I'm looking at the total debit, total credit processed at company code level, it is becoming 0. So I am fine with it. Now if your requirement is only to generate at overall financial statement, you don't have any requirement like I want to see my financials at my product level, straight away this is going to serve your purpose. There is no requirement of document splitting and all, because there is no point of splitting the document. Now you have the requirement to split the document at a particular dimension wherein you want to generate the financial statement at that particular level. Let's say if the requirement is to generate TB, P&L, balance sheet at product level. In short, I'll write PRCTR. Wherever I put PRCTR, assume that this is profit center. If the requirement is to generate TB, P&L, balance sheet at product level, now I'll write the same accounting entry. I'll put the same accounting entry, cash debit, capital credit, but I must represent this debit is at what profit center. Let's say if it is at cars, I must represent this debit credit is representing which product or which profit center. Okay, I must represent this is representing at what product or at what profit center. Now here I'm not only looking at the debit credit at company level, I'm also looking at the debit credit at profit center level. I need to make sure my debit and credit is matching at company code level. My debit and my credit is matching at profit center level also. So here debit credit must match at company code level. Okay, now here debit credit must match at company code level and profit center level. In the second statement, we are representing two level matching. Level 1 is at company code, level 2 at profit center. If I look at the company code, the total debit, total credit is nothing but company code. So total debit is 1000, total credit is 1000. It is matching at company code level. Next one, I need to look at my profit center. Let's say that car is your profit center. I need to make sure what is debited at cars is 1000, what is credited at cars is 1000. So 1000 is debit on the car, 1000 is credit on the car. Now my debit credit is matching at company code level. My debit and credit is also matching at profit center level. Now in this case, system will allow you to record the entry. If this is your requirement, majoritarily this is what will be the requirement wherever you work. Now another statement, another point you need to remember in SAP, no profit center, no accounting document. Simple statement you need to understand. In SAP, no profit center, no accounting document. In case if you are able to post a document without profit center, then what system is doing is wrong. If you are able to generate an accounting document without profit center, what a system is doing is not correct, because without profit center, your accounting entry is not supposed to get posted. Okay, without profit center, your accounting document is not supposed to get processed. Now, when I say profit center, what do I mean? Let's say I'll put another accounting entry. Now in this accounting entry, let's say I'll put 1 debit, 2 debit, 3 debit, 3 credits. I may put, let's say, rent debit, wages debit, salary debit, let's say cash credit, vendor credit, and then bank credit. Let's say this is an example I'm writing. And debit, I'll put 100, this I'll put 200, this I'll put 300, and here I'll put, this is overall is 600. I'll put 150 here and 250 here. This is 400, and then I'll put 350 here. 470, then I'll put 130. 600, 600. Now if I look at this, overall this is becoming 0. If I look at this document, overall this is becoming 0. So in general, point number 1, what we are going to look at, you are going to look at the accounting document at company code level. At company code level, in the sense you are looking at the document as a whole. When you look at the document as a whole, you need to make sure the total debits are equivalent to total credits. If your debit is not equal to credit, this is not a valid accounting. That everybody knows. This is the basic accounting fundamental. Now here, if you look at the total debits and if you look at the total credits, when you're talking about total debit, total credit, always remember you're not representing equal debit, equal credit. So I have 3 line items. I am not supposed to verify this 100 with credit 100. It is not a rule like that. What you are going to do, you are going to do a total debit. If I look at this, I'm going to look at total debit. I'm going to look at total credit. My total debit is 600. Let's say I'll put, and my total debit is 600. Okay, my total debit is 600. My total credit is 600. Now, if I try to match the individual debit with individual credit, am I able to match or not? Not able to match individual debit with individual credit. I am not able to find the corresponding credit for this 100. Similarly, there is no corresponding credit for 200. There is no corresponding credit for 300. But overall, my document is becoming zero. At first level, what a system will verify? System is going to verify whether the total debit is matching with the total credit or not. Whether total debit is matching with the total credit or not is your first level validation. Second level validation is at profit center. This is your first level validation. Is this clear? My total, I have just totaled debits and then I have totaled credits. I put this debit and credit is equivalent to 0. This accounting entry is correct. Correct? Huh?
Yes, sir. Total wise is it is 0, but individual heading wise it is not similar, right?
Right.
That is not
Right. Individual wise, we do not have to verify because your accounting also verifies what is your total debit, what is your total credit.
Both are should be 0, right? Yes, sir.
Correct. Now this is what we have done. This is your initial level verification for posting any document in SAP. This is the first level check. Second level check is at profit center. Now this I'll say at company code level. Next one I'll put profit center level. Next one, when I try to put at profit center level, now here we need to make sure what is the profit center assigned to this. Let's say here I'll put cars. Here also I'll put cars. Here also I will put cars. Now here also I'll put cars. Everywhere I'll put car. Now here also system is able to put debit credit. Now here also at car level the total is 600. At car level total is 600. Agree? Debit for cars is 600, credit for cars is also 600 because the same amount is updated with same profit center 600, same amount is updated with the same profit center 600. So there is no problem here. If there is a single profit center, there is no problem. If there is a single profit center, there is no problem. But point to be remembered here is there may be possibility this 100 is related to car and this 200 is related to bikes and this is related to, let's say, spares. Now credit side, if I wanted to split this on the credit side, how do I match this? Now I don't have the equal amounts to match the credit. Correct? I cannot put the equal credit here.
Right.
I cannot put equal credit here. So if I try to put cars, let's say bikes, spares, but overall this is matching 600 600. But when I want to split, when I want to segregate the amount based on the profit center, I am finding it a difficulty now. If I look at cars, cars has got a debit balance of 100, but cars has got a credit balance of 150. Now I'm not able to match debit credit balance in car. Am I correct? Debit
Yes,
balance in car is not matching with credit balance in car. Similarly, debit balance in bike is not matching with credit balance in bike. And debit balance in spare is not matching with credit balance in spare. Now, according to this mapping, system is not able to make profit center wise zero balance. At each profit center level, if you do a subtotal, it must become zero. Company code level, it should become zero. Point number one. Point number two, at profit center level, it should become zero. If I look at, or if I highlight only the profit center car, wherever it is, and I must make sure at this profit center level, debit credit is equal, it is becoming zero. If yes, this entry is good to post. If not, system will not allow you to record the entry. If your profit center level debit credit is not matching, system is allowing you to post the entry, then your configuration is wrong. If your configuration is wrong, whatever you're practicing, that is also wrong. Right? So these are the basic fundamentals that we need to keep in our mind right from the beginning, so that anywhere you pass the entry in the entire SAP, no profit center, no accounting entry, no company code is exception to it, no client is exception to it. This is basic fundamental. If you are able to pass the document without the profit center, what you are doing is wrong. So we need to
But sir,
realize, yeah.
sorry, sir. But sir, I have one doubt here. There is GLs are related to expense account, right, sir? Then why we need to assign the profit center with the expense GL? It should be here cost center, na, instead of profit center, sir.
There is no rule that you have to put cost center. You will put cost center only when you are using cost element.
Rent, wages, and salary is also cost element, sir. Right, sir. In S4 HANA.
But it is not mandatory to create as a cost element. So we're not currently talking about cost center. We are only talking about profit center. That's why I'm not writing cost center here. We are only talking about profit center.
Okay, but sir, in my many of the client, they have assigned only expense GL with the cost center, not they have maintained the profit center. Profit center is also is only assigned with the revenue item, sir, not the expense item. I have just seen in my real
Now
time scenario.
here our scenario is document splitting. Document splitting is relevant to only these elements. Do we have cost center here?
No, sir, no cost center.
No cost center. So that is why I'm not writing cost center here. When you give cost center will bring profit center or not?
Yes, there is a setting. One setting is OKB9. Cost center also is assigned with profit center, right?
No. When you create a cost center, do you mention profit center inside the cost center or not?
Yes, sir. We have maintained profit center. Yes, sir.
Right? When you are maintaining profit center inside cost center, when you give cost center, profit center will come like a shadow.
Achha, it will
Like
come
if you
automatically,
put,
right?
it comes automatically. So there is no
Okay.
point that we are writing cost center here. Not relevant for our scenario.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Now here we need to make sure this document, whether we are able to match it at profit center level or not. Now there are many scenarios. There are many scenarios where your document may match, your document may not match at profit center level, even though it is matching at a document level. If I look at the document level or company code level, my debit credit is exactly matching. I don't see any problem here. But the moment I started looking at my profit center level breakup, I am not able to tally these numbers. I am not able to tally these numbers. Now, when I'm looking at the profit center level, that is where I need to look at the entry a little more depth. I cannot see this accounting entry as just like that debit credit. I have to look at from the debit credit point of view. If I am looking at the company code level, if I'm looking at the company code level, I will be focusing on what is debit, what is credit, how much debit, how much credit, which is fine. No problems with company code level debit credit. The moment I enter at profit center level, I cannot just like that see what is debit, what is credit. I should also verify what I am debiting, what I am crediting, how much debit, how much credit. What is the nature of account that I am debiting? What is the nature of account that I am crediting? Because system is going to verify what kind of a debit account you are using, what kind of a credit account you are using. Certain combinations are not allowed. When I say certain combinations are not allowed, if I am debiting cash account, I am crediting my customer account, let's say it is allowed. But if I try to debit my customer account, credit my cash account, system may not allow this entry because there are predefined configuration checkpoints due to which it will not allow certain wrong combination of accounting entries. Your debit and credit must be relevant to the respective key combinations, in short, item categories. Okay, it must be with respect to the relevant item category. When you talk about item category, we talk about GL accounts. When we talk about GL accounts, we will be talking about broadly P&L account, balance sheet account. When I talk about P&L, I will be talking about incomes and expenses. Here I'll be talking about assets and then liabilities. Income and expenses, asset and liabilities. Again, if I talk about income, I will be having different type of incomes. When I talk about expenses, I will be having different type of expenses. Similarly, different type of asset, different type of liability. When we know there are various category of your GL accounts, in short, within asset you have various categories of asset, within liability you have various category of liability. Let me show you on system. I'll go to a path. Ignore this where I am going. Anyway, we will do it in detail. Now there is something called classify GL accounts for document splitting. If I go inside, if I pass, let's say, any chart of account, and here is your item category. Copy this. Now I'll put them here in the Excel sheet. We'll split half and then put here half, here half. Okay, fine. Anyways, now these points, these are nothing but your item categories. Let me put, these are your item categories. When I talk about item categories, these are all the numbers which represent item category, and these are the descriptions of the respective item category. In this, whatever the GL accounts that you are talking about, whether you're talking about asset, liability, income or expense, first thing you need to be in a position to segregate. If I'm talking about, let's say, rent, if I'm talking about rent, we must understand what is rent. First map this rent according to this. Rent is a, I'll put this color. Rent is expense. Now inside expense, what kind of expense it is? Do you have any specific category in expense or not? If there is a specific category in expense, you need to map it. Currently I'm able to see only expense here. I am mapping it here. Right? I don't find any expense relevant to rent here. So what I am doing, I am mapping against expense only. Similarly, I'll put another account called cash. I'll put another account called bank account. Now I'll select cash account here. For cash account, let's say I'll put this color. Cash account is my asset. Cash account is asset. In asset, which item category it falls under? Asset, I can tell balance sheet account. Asset, I can tell fixed asset. Asset, I can tell material. Asset, I can tell my customers. Asset, I can tell my cash account also. Now you need to look at the respective GL account, what it is. Accordingly, you need to map the respective item category. Only then system is going to perform the document splitting properly. If this mapping is correct, your document splitting may go wrong. System may not be able to split the entry. Now for this to happen, first we need to understand what are the GL accounts that you have, what is the nature of account, how these GL accounts are mapped under item categories. So these points basically we need to understand. We don't need to do thorough study and all on this. Just like that, if you look at the accounting entries, GL accounts, automatically you will be able to map it. Let's say cash, I'm able to find something called cash account here. Let's say I will be mapping a cash against cash account. Now I have bank account. Let's say bank also, I will be mapping under cash account only. Similarly, I'm talking about accounts payable. If I talk about accounts payable, if I put a different color for this accounts payable, now we know accounts payable is all about vendors. We already discussed, when you talk about accounts payable, blindly map it to vendor. It is all about your vendor supplier. Accounts payable is a liability account. Liability is just a group. Inside the liability, you have different subgrouping of the liabilities. Current liability, all the other things. Your accounts payable is not related to any specific liability here. Right? You don't have any specific thing which represents liability. So what you have, point number one, you can map it under balance sheet account. Point number two, you have straight away vendor account. So accounts payable is all about your vendor account. So what I will do, I will be mapping my accounts payable GLs under vendor account. Below vendor account, you have one more thing called vendor special GL transaction. When I talk about accounts payable, I may also talk about advances to vendor. Right? This is also possible. You will be giving advances to your suppliers. When I'm giving advance to vendor, let's say this is a different category. This is a different business scenario. If you are paying or if you are purchasing from a vendor, this becomes your liability. If you are paying to the vendor in advance, this becomes your asset. So your advance to vendor, I will not be treating as vendor. I will be treating this as vendor special GL transaction. Like this, we must be in a position to map the GL accounts according to the relevant item category. If this setting is wrong, whatever the practice, whatever the postings that we are doing will be wrong automatically, because we are not clear on what basis the system is going to work, on what basis the system is going to split the entry. If we understand the basics at the beginning, tomorrow when we are practicing, when we receive the errors, easy for us to understand, okay, this error because of this reason. This mapping must be done in accordance to relevance of your GL account nature with the account item category. If this mapping is correct, your splitting is going to work fine. If this mapping is not correct, your splitting will not be correct. Point number one, when you're creating the GL account, when you're creating the chart of account, it is strictly not advisable to create 4 account groups. Strictly, you're not supposed to create 4 account groups, no matter what. Let's say, for example, if I show you GL master, this is one of the major mistakes a lot of people will do. Now, in this company code, if you see, there are a lot of account groups here. Fixed assets, accumulated depreciation, cash account, bank account, stock, customer advances, taxes, investment, vendor account. You have various account groups here. Like this, you need to create a different account groups. Like this, you need to create a different account groups. These account groups are coming from your chart of account. These account groups are coming from chart of account, which means chart of account, when you're creating, you cannot create chart of account just like that. You cannot create chart of account just like that. You need to make sure while creating the chart of account, you need to keep your TB, P&L, balance sheet in your mind. How am I planning to look at my trial balance? How am I planning to look at my P&L? How am I planning to look at my balance sheet? Based on these conditions, based on this parameter only, you are going to decide how your chart of account is going to be. What will be the length of GL account? How many account groups you are creating? This is all dependent on your financial statement, your financial reporting at the end. Now, when you're creating your company code, when you're creating your practice, you have to think the end point, which is your balance sheet. If balance sheet is not running in your mind, we created company code, we started practicing, nothing is in line, we have no clarity on what we are doing. With this clarity, if we are working on the system, no matter whether we create one company code, whether we create 10 company codes, it is not going to help us. Very simple. If you do not know these points before we create our company code, this is not going to help us. Irrespective of the number of company codes that you create, irrespective of the number of hours that you are sitting in front of the system, this is not going to help us. Tomorrow, for the simple basic questions, we will have to be quiet. So this kind of a situation, so we should not face. For this not to happen, no other go, we need to understand different points at the beginning itself, so that when you're on SAP screen, you will be able to understand, okay, these are the reasons why we are creating this. If you create like this, this is what is going to happen. Later on, settings cannot be changed. In SAP, especially once you record something, there is no way that you delete it. You have to live with it, or you have to scrap out everything. But you cannot repair it. Repairs are not possible in SAP. Either scrap out everything or adjust with it. So later on, certain corrections, certain changes are not allowed, not permitted. So everybody will say that, why did you do like this? So did you not discuss with the client? Did you not get the requirement clearly? They'll put cross questions to us if something goes wrong. So that is why when you talk about SAP, you have something called system landscape. Now let me write another point here. System landscape. When I talk about system landscape, in SAP, you have three system landscape. One is development, two is quality,
and the third one
three
is
is
production.
Right. Now, whenever you work on SAP, whether you work for any particular client or any particular project, you need to understand that there is something called system landscape, development, quality, production. When you talk about development, quality, production, if you look at your SAP logon pad like this, okay, this is your SAP logon pad. On the SAP logon pad, you will find like this: development, quality, production. For any client that you work, for every client there will be three servers. One is development server, quality server, production server, or server is also called as client or system. People use with different names, different terminologies. You should not get confused. Somebody says log into development system, somebody says log into development server, somebody says log into development client, somebody will tell only log into development. So you should not get confused between client, server, system, development. Everybody is referring to the same point. When you look at the system, you will have like this: development, quality, production. Now you need to have a clarity where you need to log in. Now everything is related to same client. If I talk about XYZ client, this is also XYZ system. This is also XYZ system. This is also XYZ system. But the landscape is different. One is development, one is quality, one is production. What you will do in development, what you will do in quality, what you will do in production, you need to have a clear understanding, right? Now we are talking about, if your combinations are not correct, if your settings are not correct, system will not work in certain areas. When we say if everything is not correct, the system will not work in certain areas. Now any point may create a problem at any given any situation. Maybe some silly mistake from my side create a problem for everybody, or a simple mistake from your side may create a problem to others. Now when you remember, or when you keep in your mind one point, whenever you're talking about SAP, first thing that you need to talk about, handing over or delivering the system to the client. Handing over or delivering system to the client. When we will deliver system to the client? Only when everything is completed. We will deliver system to the client only when everything is completed. When I mean everything is completed, you have configured the complete system, you have tested from your side, you have tested along with the client, you have given training to the client. After all these areas, after all this sequence of activities only, you are going to hand over system to the client, which means when client is receiving the system, it is fully tested system. Client is not going to test it because this is the live system. You are going to deliver production system to the client. Client is going to use production system on a daily basis for their day-to-day business transactions. Client
Sir,
is going to
quality
use.
system. Sorry, sir, interrupt you. Sir, quality system is also under the client control, right, sir? Not development. Only quality and production server is under the client control, right? Or production only. Quality and production, right? Both.
Quality and production, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're handing over system to the product, when you're handing over production system to the client, we will make sure that lot of checkpoints are met, config is all completed, testing is completed, everything is working fine. Now during the project implementation phase or during your project time, you are going to test everything. Wherever you find any problem, you are going to rectify the problem. Any problem that you encounter, you will rectify the problem, you will test it to ensure that this problem is not happening and this rectification is not creating any problem somewhere else, right? So you need to ensure that your testing is completely happening thoroughly in the practical manner, because normally what will happen, I create something, it creates a problem, I'll do some changes and then I will test that alone, it is working fine, but my change might create an impact somewhere else. So that we need to understand as a consultant what change you are doing, how your change is going to reflect, or how your change is going to affect the additional processes or other areas. If you are not aware of this, it is strictly not recommended that you will initiate those changes if you are not sure about what is going to happen or what will be the impact of your changes.
Ajay, what is the scope in for a consultant for quality and production? Means how much scope we have here?
In quality, you will be testing, you will be preparing the UAT, you will be giving the trainings and all to the system client. In production,
Like
if there are any issues raised by the client, you will have to check the production issue in production only. So in
okay,
production,
Hello, is there audio disturbance, sir? I think.
is it fine now?
Yes,
yeah,
it is
fine.
okay now.
Yeah. So in the quality system, we are going to perform the testings, we are going to prepare manuals, we are going to conduct trainings, or we are going to replicate scenarios of production errors. Let's say your client is telling in the production system they are facing some error, there is some issue in the production system. You cannot check the production error in the quality system because problem is coming in production system. What you will do, you will open production system, you will see what is the problem that you are facing, and you will try to understand why this error is coming. And you cannot experiment in the production system, that is not allowed. You will see the problem in production system, you will replicate the same scenario in quality system. Like whatever I am doing in production system, you will understand, okay, you are posting a debit credit entry in these two accounts, it is not allowing this entry. Okay, hold on, let me try any other way we can pass this entry. I understand, okay, you're debiting customer account, you're crediting vendor account, it is not allowing you to post. What I will do, I will try to test it in the quality system. In quality, what I am doing, I am replicating your production scenario, or I am replicating a test case of your production problem. For this kind of reasons, you will be using a quality system. Now, when you are working on quality system, you will be working completely, like you can create, change, modify whatever you want from the end user perspective, master records, transactions, reports. But configuration is strictly from the development system. Anyways, we
It's
are
like
going to have a detailed discussion on the system landscape and TR movement shortly. Maybe in couple of days we will discuss on it. There you will have all your questions, confusions clarified on the system landscape, TR movement, how each TR is moved, what you will do in development, what you will do in quality, what you will do in production. Okay,
it is like GT2 access for end users.
right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now here we are understanding the GL accounts. Based on the GL account, based on the respective GL account, you are understanding which category it falls under and you are mapping the respective categories for the GL accounts. Now these categories, whatever you do, is called as configuration. The item category assignment to your GL account is configuration. Any configuration you will be performing it in development system. Any configuration we will be performing in development system. Let's say due to some reasons your client is passing one kind of entry. Let's say I am debiting a customer account, I am crediting a cash account. When I'm passing this entry, debiting a customer account, crediting cash account, let's say system is not allowing this entry. If I say system is not allowing this entry, what I will do, I will raise a ticket or I will inform the consultant that I am trying to record this entry. However, system is not allowing me to pass this. Please help me to record this entry. This is very urgent. Now, as a consultant, you will have to see, and your client is telling that I want to debit my customer account. I want to credit my vendor account. I am transferring this amount from customer account to vendor account. Possible or not? Let's say I want to debit customer and I want to credit vendor. Now what I mean to say here is there is some amount lying in the customer account and which I want to move to vendor account, for which I will be debiting customer, I will be crediting vendor. So or the other way around. Now is this accounting entry correct? If I put 100 debit, 100 credit, yes, no?
Correct, sir.
Right, I can move my vendor balance to customer balance or customer account. From my customer account, I can move the balance to my vendor account. But
So
when
it
you
is
do
same,
these kind of
same.
entries,
Okay. Is it same name customer and vendor, right, sir? Same.
anything, it can be anything.
Different also. Okay.
Okay. So when this is my requirement, I need to pass this entry, I need to adjust this amount. This is my business decision. Now, when I'm trying to record this kind of entry, let's say system is stopping you to record the entry. It is telling some error, balancing field, profit center not filled up. Somewhere you are getting stuck. It is not allowing you to record the entry. Now, when you tell this to your user, your user is trying to record this entry, he is facing a problem. User will reach out to consultant will look into this. He will tell that, okay, you're debiting customer, you're crediting vendor. Understood. Let me try once again. As a consultant, I will also try to record similar entry in the quality system. I am also encountering or I am also facing the same problem. Now I will tell, okay, give me some time. Let me check and come back to you. What I am going to do, I am going to check, okay, what I am debiting customer, I am crediting vendor. Is this a valid entry first? Now can I say this is not valid entry, you cannot post like this? No, client will not listen to me if I say this. So client wants this entry to be posted. Now I cannot say this is an incorrect entry. So what I need to do, I need to do something in system that this entry is allowed. Now why this entry is not allowed? Because both are subledger accounts. If you remember, your customer is subledger, your vendor is a subledger. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Both are subledger.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Customer is a subledger, vendor is a subledger. Now point to be noted here. Now we are talking about document splitting, right? The topic that we are talking about, document splitting. Here document splitting is not applicable for subledger to subledger or subledger postings. In short, your document splitting is not applicable to subledger postings or subledger posting. Now, in this entry, am I debiting, crediting only subledger or main ledger is also involved?
Main ledger is also involved.
Where is main ledger? Customer is a subledger. Vendor is also subledger, correct? Huh?
Yes, sir. Both are subledger, but no main ledger is there.
But in customer, there is a reconciliation account is.
But here you are not writing reconciliation account, right? Your entry is posted in the customer account. System is only going to look at which account you are debiting. According to customer,
Every customer master data and vendor master data having the reconciliation. Is that right?
yes, but system is not going to look at what is there inside the customer. When I am writing an accounting entry, I am not telling the reconciliation main ledger account. I am telling only the customer account, correct?
Yeah.
So customer account, I cannot call it as main ledger. Customer, I have to call it as a subledger. Am I correct?
Yes.
When you give customer account, system is detecting customer account as a subledger account. So for subledger account, document splitting is not allowed or not applicable. Similarly, vendor is also subledger account. For subledger account, document splitting is not allowed. When we talk about customer account, vendor account, or asset account, which is nothing but your another subledger account, fixed asset. Now for these things, your profit center is not allowed. Not allowed or not applicable, which means it is not possible for us to record the profit center against customer, against vendor, against fixed asset. Now, when we say it is not allowed, system will not be able to take the profit center. Even if I put, let's say, now in this case, it is straight away. If I put profit center, I cannot put any profit center here because the system will not give me any option to input. That profit center itself is not applicable for it. If this is not applicable, no way you can input profit center to this entry. No way you can input profit center to this entry in the standard behavior. Now this is one entry where this is purely subledger to subledger. Now let me put another entry. I'll put debit to customer and then I'll put credit to sales. In this case, if I put 100 on the debit, 100 on the credit, this I will call it as subledger. This I call it as main ledger. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are right.
Right? Customer is a subledger, sales is a main ledger. Now for now if I put profit center here, for subledger, as I said, I cannot put profit center. It will be blank. Even if I wanted to put, system will not allow me to input profit center wherever you input customer, vendor. In short, subledger account. For main ledger account, it will allow you to input. Let's say I'll put cars here. I'm selling a car. I am putting profit center car here. If you look at this entry, debit credit, it is matching. Debit credit, this is matching. Amount has become 0. If I look at overall transaction, debit credit, my amount is becoming 0. If I look at profit center wise, debit has got no profit center, credit has got a profit center. Now if I look at profit center car, at profit center car level, do I have credit? For profit center car, I have a credit 100, fine. But at cars, do you have any debit?
No, no, sir.
For cars, there is no debit. There is no debit because we have listed a statement here, document splitting is not applicable for subledger to subledger or subledger posting. It is not applicable. When we say it is not applicable, here, when you're talking about document splitting will not represent anything on its own. It is represented based on at what level you are going to generate the financial statement. Now, according to our initial example, which option is mandatory apart from company code?
Profit center,
Profit
segment,
center is mandatory,
Profit
right?
center.
Segment is optional. Only
optional,
profit
right.
center is mandatory. Now,
Okay.
if you know this is your requirement, according to you, when you talk about document splitting, what are you representing by document splitting? Profit center,
Yes, sir. Profit
right?
center.
According to our requirement, whenever you talk about document splitting, you are representing profit center. So you cannot say that document splitting is this if you do not know what is your requirement. This is a requirement. Your requirement is to generate financial statements at profit center level. To generate financial statement at profit center level, you have to split your document at profit center level. Each and every document that is getting posted in your company code must be split according to profit center level. This is your document splitting based on your requirement. Clear? Based on our requirement, when we talk about document splitting, we are talking about splitting the document based on profit center. Your document should have equal debit on the profit center. Your document should have equal credit on the profit center. At profit center level, if your document is not balanced with debit and credit, it will not allow you to record the entry because you are requesting or your requirement is to generate financials at profit center level. When you're generating financials at profit center level, the first one that you're generating is trial balance. When you generate any trial balance, the basic rule of your trial balance is debit is equal to credit. Is this correct logic for trial balance?
Yes, sir. 100% correct.
Correct.
Yes,
If I
sir.
want to generate my trial balance, I must have debits equal to credit. If my debits are not equaling to credit, I cannot call it as a trial balance. Without a trial balance, I cannot prepare P&L, I cannot create balance sheet. Now, my intention is to generate my financials at product level. Product I am treating as a profit center level. Now, I need to make sure each and every document, each and every transaction that I am recording in my company code is balanced at profit center level. Now, it is practically not possible for a user to split the entry while recording a transaction because there are many entries which are common between two profit centers. Not every transaction you can split between cars and bike. Let's say for simple example, you have an employee or maybe you have the showroom. Simple example, let's say you have the showroom wherein you are running the BMW office, in which you may be selling a car. In the same showroom, you may be doing servicing. In the same showroom, you may be doing spare parts, bike sales and services. Possible or not?
Possible,
In the
sir.
same
Possible.
showroom, can I do multiple activities here?
Is very
Right.
possible.
Yes, sir. We can do.
Now, when I do it, let's say for the showroom, if I am paying, let's say 50,000 as rent, 50,000 is the rent for showroom. Now, this 50,000 is not straight away related to car, bike, spare or services because this is a shared amount, correct? This is a shared cost. This 50,000 I need to split between 4 products. But I'm not paying this 50,000 to 4 members. I'm paying this 50,000 to one person who is the owner of the building or owner of the land. Agree?
Yes. Right, sir.
When I'm making the payment, I am making payment to a single person. But when I'm recording this cost, when I'm charging this 50,000, I want this 50,000 to be charged to 4 departments or to the 4 products. cars, bike, spare and services. Now there may be entries like this. Now when your user is recording these kind of entries, you cannot expect every entry to be split. Certain entries at the time of the transaction you can split because you know the breakup. For certain entries you cannot split at the time of a transaction because you will come to a conclusion. These things we will be splitting, we will be allocating based on these percentages. Only at the month end you will know. Which means while recording the transaction, not every time it is possible for us to identify. So I'm only talking about the scenarios where we will get problems. I'm not talking about the simple straightforward scenarios. So these kind of entries will be there. Now in short, from this point, what you need to remember, keep in your mind, when you're talking about a document splitting, first thing that should strike your mind is financial statement, TB, P&L, balance sheet. This is point number one. Point number two, at what level you are generating your financial statements. Company code is mandatory, ignore the company code. At company code level, there is nothing called document splitting. Your document splitting is relevant from level 2, 3, 4. From level 2 to 4 is your document splitting. If you are generating financials at profit center level, when you talk about a document splitting, you are talking about balancing a document at profit center level, or ensuring that debit and credit matches at profit center level. Now, if I come down, if this is my transaction which I am posting, while posting this entry, I have debited customer, I have credited sales. Now I'll put profit center is not applicable for subledgers. Profit center is not applicable for subledgers while posting. Let me update it one second.
But sir, in
While
the above scenario, customer and vendor, customer debit to vendor, that is not possible, right, sir, to post?
there are
Because
ways to post it.
Another way.
There are ways to post it, but practically if you say it, it is not possible straightforward. So you need to play with the document splitting functionality to pass the entries. Okay. Now profit center is not applicable for subledgers while posting, which means when you are posting a document, you are debiting a customer account, you are crediting sales account. You need to look at what is main ledger, what is a subledger in your accounting entry. My debit is customer, which is my subledger. Credit is a sales, which is my main ledger. We only said profit center is not applicable for subledger. So this is your subledger. Profit center is not applicable. I kept it a blank. And the other one is my main ledger. For main ledger, profit center is applicable. I have given a profit center here. Now, when I try to balance it, profit center cars. Now I have two profit centers. If I take profit center cars, at this level, I have debit. And if I take credit, for profit center cars, I have a credit of 100, but there is no debit. Debit is 0. Now at car level, my debit and credit is not matching. So if your debit credit not matching at profit center level, it is not possible to record the entry. So system will throw an error stating this entry cannot be processed, because at profit center level, your balances are not matching. For your balances to match at profit center level, right from the beginning, your document splitting configuration must be performed in a proper way. First point for us to understand the document splitting, you should not do this mistake of creating only 4 account groups in chart of account. This is the first mistake where we don't understand the concept or functionality of document splitting. This mistake, we should not do it. When you create any chart of account, make sure you create multiple GL accounts and then different type of account groups, because no company will create 4 account groups. These 4 account groups are created only in the test environment while practicing. So this mistake you should not do. And then when you create a different account groups, make sure you understand these item categories first. What is this list? Balance sheet account, zero balance, company code splitting, cash discount, customer special GL, vendor special GL, cash account, material account, asset account, revenue, expense account. There are only hardly around 10 categories that you need to remember. In fact, we don't even have to remember it. You automatically understand by the moment you look at any GL account. Once you configure, once you practice it for 1 or 2 times, everything will automatically sit in your mind. Okay, once these are properly assigned, that is where your splitting is going to work in the system. Now your document splitting is going to have different functionalities. Now,
Sir, one question. Sir, why profit center is not applicable for subledgers?
I'm writing it now. Okay, every document every accounting document contains 2 views in SAP. Every accounting document contains 2 views in SAP. When we talk about 2 views, first one is your entry view, second one is your general ledger view. I think everybody must have seen this entry view, general ledger view. In short, whenever you try to post any document, I hope everybody majority is already experienced with SAP. Whenever you post any document, before posting of any document in SAP, we have below 2 options. First one
Is breakdowns. Issue is there, so I think.
Yeah, before posting of any document in SAP, you have 2 options. Point number 1, simulate. Point number 2, simulate general ledger. Correct? I think everybody would have seen these points.
Yes, you see.
Right? So one is your entry view, the other one is your general ledger view. And before you post, you have 2 options. Point number 1, simulate. Point number 2, simulate general ledger view. Now these two correspond to each other. Entry view is your simulate. Whenever you simulate, you will see the entry in entry view. Whenever you click on simulate general ledger, it will display the document in general ledger view. Okay, so in entry view, subledgers and main ledgers will appear as it is. In entry view, subledgers and main ledgers will appear as it is. And next one, in general ledger view, all the subledgers will appear as the main ledger, in short, recon GLs. Clear? In entry view, subledgers and main ledgers will appear as it is, and in your general ledger view, all the subledgers will appear as main ledgers. Okay, now in your customer master, you will assign reconciliation main ledger account called accounts receivable. Similarly, in the vendor account, you will be assigning reconciliation main ledger called accounts payable. Those accounts will come into picture when you talk about general ledger view or simulate general ledger. Now, here SAP will not show any profit center at subledger level. Here SAP will not show any profit center at subledger level. This is one point. Second point, here SAP will split profit center for the subledger related main ledger. In short, reconciliates to balance the entry at profit center level. Here your splitting will come into picture. I'm writing in the simple terminologies. I'm not writing anything from the technical words. I'm writing only from the basic simple words wherein you will understand, you will read in the similar way. Okay, when you look at the entry in entry view, it will appear, it will show subledger and main ledger as it is. So in this accounting entry, here what system is going to do? Here it will show customer debit and sales credit. It will show 100. There will be no profit center here. There will be cars here. This is your accounting entry which will get processed here. On the other side, when you talk about in general ledger view, we are talking about subledger will appear as main ledger, reconciliation account. Your customer account is assigned to accounts receivable. So your customer account will reflect as accounts receivable debit, and it will reflect as sales credit. So the amount will be the same, 100 on the debit, 100 on the credit, and here it will be cars, and here also it will be cars. Now if I highlight this accounting entry in blue, this car, whatever I put in yellow, so this is based on
in main ledger account, why the car will be shown here actually, Ajay?
this is based on the document splitting. Okay, so whatever I've put yellow, this yellow is nothing but this is based on document splitting functionality. Now, as we know, our requirement is to generate the financial statement at profit center level. In short, for cars, if I want to generate the financial statement, when I write my trial balance, when I write my TB, I need to have my debit, I need to have my credit in my trial balance.
Here you're trying to say subledger will be not split, but main ledger will be split in the document splitting?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now, if I look at the entry as it is, so I have customer account, I have sales account. Customer will go to debit. So debit I am able to see here. If I look at the overall trial balance, at company code level, I'm not looking at the profit centers. So straight away I'll put 100 here. I'll put 100 here. My debit credit is matching. But on the other side, if I try to put the trial balance, at profit center level. This is TB, company code level. This is the TB, profit center level. When I generate the TB at profit center level, if I look at this entry, debit side there is no profit center. So from this entry view, I am not able to write any value in the debit. On the credit side, I can find profit center. I can put 100 here. Okay, if I put specifically at car level. By my original entry, I am not able to put any debit because there is no profit center here, correct? So if I am not able to put debit and if I am able to put only credit, my TB is not matching. Is this matching?
No, sir.
If your TB is not matching, it is not possible for us to prepare the financial statement. But this is not valid. Nobody will say that I am fine with it. So what system will do? It will split the entry. When it is a splitting entry, what it is going to do? It is going to look at, okay, you are using customer account here. For customer account, you would have assigned a GL account, which is nothing but reconciliation main ledger. For customer, you would have assigned accounts receivable GL account. So what system is going to do? It is going to convert the entry view into ledger view, which means the general ledger view. In the general ledger view, it is going to split the entry according to profit center. So it will look at the offsetting account. When it is looking at offsetting account, currently your entry has got only two records, one debit, one credit. If I close my accounts receivable, I am left with cars. So blindly I'll take a car here and I'll bring debit here. Correct?
But Ajay,
Here,
in account receivable, there is a group of customers, like kind of like service customer or so if there is so many customers, how you will identify this entry belong to which customer? Because you are looking splitting on the account receivable on the main ledger on the customer reconciliation account. So in the account receivable, there is so many customers. So this is not single customer. So how can you find out to which customer you are doing the payment?
when you are doing any sale, you are going to do a sale at one customer level.
Yes.
I cannot sell at the same time to 3 customers, correct? My entry is customer specific.
Yeah, but we make the group of the customer for the account receivable, like one like
So
service
what system
customer.
needs here? System requires the GL account alone.
Okay.
System requires the GL account. Reconciliation main ledger account alone it requires.
Okay.
Okay, and it is going to take the profit center from the offsetting account and it will supplement to the missing account, which is your subledger account related to the reconciliation GL.
Sir, here accounts receivable is offsetting account for customer.
No, offsetting account means the other side. Where is your accounts receivable? On which side it is?
For the sales account, it is offsetting.
Your accounts receivable is on what side? Is it on debit side or is it on credit side?
Debit side.
Debit side.
Your accounts receivable is on debit side. When I'm talking about offsetting account for accounts receivable, I'm talking about reverse, ulta. Debit, reverse means what? What is the other side of debit?
Credit.
Credit. When I'm talking about accounts receivable, I am talking about offsetting account sales. When I'm talking about sales, I'm talking about offsetting account accounts receivable. In short, if I'm talking about debit, my offsetting will be credit. If I'm talking about credit, my offsetting will be debit. Clear? Not customer accounts receivable.
So actually, Jay, when you create the posting for the customer, you assign the account receivable account there, reconciliation account there, okay? But my question is you are not creating one receivable account for the one customer, is that right? you are
System has
creating.
got nothing to do with it. When you're creating any particular sale, you're going to sell, let's say I am selling to a customer a car. Now, when I'm selling a car to the customer at the sales, I am going to write cars,
Yes.
right? If I'm going to sell a bike, I'm going to write bike. Now here, it is not that both sides profit center will not be blank. Profit center is always blank only on one side. Either on the debit side your profit center will be blank, or on the credit side your profit center will be blank, because both subledger postings are not allowed. I cannot debit, I cannot credit exclusively subledger account, strictly not allowed that entry. Your document splitting is invalid if you are posting somewhere we have listed here.
Yeah, you said that. But
Okay, so this
I was
is straight away ruled out. So your entry strictly will contain one main ledger account, one subledger account. Main ledger will always have profit center. Subledger will not have profit center. Now either debit or credit, one side profit center is there, the other side profit center is not there.
okay. Maybe when you do the entry, maybe I will understand, because my thing is like account receivable itself is a group of like you're not saying like this receivable accounts belong to which customer.
You're not supposed to look at from the accounts receivable. You have to look at from the transaction. You're looking at from the overall accounts payable, which is wrong. You have to look at from the transaction point of view. If I look at this transaction, this is a sale transaction. How many sales? All customer sales or one customer sale?
One customer sale.
One customer, you would have sold one or two products.
Yes.
So when you sell one or two products, you will know what is the product, what is the profit center.
Yes, we know that.
That is what is coming here.
Okay.
It is not looking at the overall accounts receivable. It is only looking at this particular sale, this particular transaction alone. In this, whatever the product you are selling, that product will by default tell that this is the profit center.
Okay. Okay, Ajay, when we'll post the entry,
Yeah, while
maybe
posting the
I'll
entry,
get
you will
clear.
understand.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so if you are able to split the entry like this, you will be able to generate the trial balance at profit center cars level. Otherwise, it is practically not possible for us to generate the trial balance P&L balance sheet at profit center level. So how system is going to split the entry? In every entry, point number one, GL account, I'll say specifically point number one, main ledger must be there. Point number two, main and subledger is possible. Point number three, only subledgers without main ledgers are not possible. Okay, when I put this statement, let me write point number one. So main ledger, I'll say rent debit, cash credit. Now this is main ledger, correct? Only main ledger.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Both are the main ledger.
Point number two, customer debit, sales credit. Is this main ledger, subledger?
Subledger, main ledger.
One
Subledger,
subledger, one
main
main
ledger.
ledger.
Right?
Both
Point
are
number
there.
two. Point number two is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Point number three, either customer debit, customer credit, or customer debit, vendor credit, or vendor debit, vendor credit. In short, subledger to subledger. These kind of entries cannot be there because I cannot debit and credit my customer account. If I'm debiting customer and if I'm crediting my customer, then I'm not able to input profit center, as profit center field is not applicable for subledger.
So, Ajay, second point you said main ledger and subledger. This you need to write down account receivable, no? The second point.
If I put accounts
No.
receivable, again we will get confused that accounts receivable will become main ledger.
Both
No,
of
you
them
said this
ledger that
ledger is possible in document splitting.
Which one?
The second point, like you said, main and subledger is possible, and then you take like the down customer debit to sales credit.
Okay.
Is that right? So you need to write down this custom account receivable debit to sales credit.
No. So reading in this
then
way,
both
let
of the
me
main
put
ledger, na?
subledger and main ledger.
Yeah.
Now
So
customer
sales
is
a
your
main ledger.
subledger.
The account receivable will be the sorry. No, sorry, you are right.
Okay, when we are writing the entry, we don't write accounts receivable, we write customer only. Main
I
ledger,
got it. I got it.
it comes from the backend.
I got it. Thank you.
In point number 3, we can say asset debit and vendor credit, right? Both are subledger.
There it is possible. Asset is an exception. I'll tell why asset is an exception, why I'm not writing it. Okay, and the another point, profit center field is not available for vendors and customers. This also you remember. Okay, these three points you connect, and this point you remember. Clear? These points alone you read through this, because I'm not writing the detailed examples here.
Okay.
Because
Ajay, you said document splitting is not possible for the subledgers. So you said profit center is not available for vendor customer. It will be asset also in that case.
no, asset is an exception.
Oh, for the just only for the profit center, but for the document splitting, you need to include the asset accounting too. Assets also.
No,
It's not possible.
Asset is an exception, because when you create any asset, inside the asset we assign cost center, correct?
Yeah.
So cost center by default brings profit center.
Yeah, that's
So there
right.
is no way that asset will create a problem with splitting, because
Can you
asset
write
always
down
comes
that? Can you write down that point, Ajay, if you don't mind?
that I'll write maybe in the tomorrow's session, because I don't want to write that point and then create confusion. I want to read whatever is listed here.
Yeah, Ajay, and this is really it's a very, I never ever thought about all this stuff, like nobody teaches, and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, can we create a cost center master without profit center, or profit center is mandatory in cost center master?
You
Is it
can
not
create cost
mandatory
center
field, right?
without profit center, but if you create a cost center without profit center, that is invalid. Your master itself is invalid. System allows you to create.
Okay.
But when we know that our entries are, we are going to prepare the financials at profit center level, you need to ensure all the possibilities where and all your entries are getting captured and how your profit center is being supplied there.
Okay.
Now, end
Then
of
if we
all this,
yeah.
after writing all these points, we will be moving around only one point, because we started all this discussion from document splitting, But so far we have not talked about how document splitting works. There are methods in document splitting like active, passive, zero, balance. We were not talking about that so far. But before we talk about splitting methods, before we talk about how entries will get converted, we need to know these points for sure. If we are not sure about these points, practically we will not be able to understand what exactly is happening in document splitting.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I understand everything. So little bit like why we should not apply on subledger level. So because of like and there is a different tools level. So in on-premise we are in the vendor master level, we are creating reconciliation level, reconciliation account adding up. So that is the main ledger. So when it's going to other two levels, so SAP tool only, so there is a call account determination group is there. So same functionality different, but concept is same. So why not in the on-premise level? Is there any idea?
What do you mean by account determination?
Same like how we are creating the when customer master we are assigning reconciliation account, right?
Correct.
So that is the determine instead of subledger, we when you pass the entry, it's a system taking that main ledger, right?
Correct.
So that is the only account determination.
Now this is you're talking about SAP on-premise, SAP cloud.
Not cloud. So SAP by design.
Okay. No, normally to answer to your question, what is the whole funda of doing this document splitting? You want to prepare financial statement, correct?
Mhm.
So when you prepare financial statement, are you going to prepare financial statement with main ledger or with sub ledger?
My question is like so why can't implement without maintaining any ledger in the master level? So we can why it's SAP came up with the vendor customer as a sub ledger level?
Well, actually, Ajay is asking, why you creating the reconciliation account as the main ledger for the vendors and customers?
Yeah,
That is
that's what.
the reason.
For that question, you need to pick these points. These 3 points are the reason for bringing them as reconciliation account. Let's say you're doing sales. On an average, if you're doing sales, how many customers you will be having? If you talk about a big company like BMW, how many customers will they have? Let's say if you talk about only BMW
In
India,
thousands. In thousands.
1,000 is
N
possible.
number.
Let's
N
assume
number
that
of
ballpark figure. Let's say I take 1,000 customers. Easily possible or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
This is possible. Now your customer is asset or liability?
asset.
Customer is asset. Now if I do not take this as subledger concept, I will end up writing 1,000 customer names in my balance sheet.
Yes.
So
no.
if I write 1,000 customer names in my balance sheet, normally in general we will be preparing our financial statement, a booklet, correct?
Correct.
Now if I put 1,000 customers in my balance sheet, similarly if I have let's say around 500 vendors, if I put all these 500 vendors in my balance sheet, my balance sheet size, will it be possible to review or understand the balance sheet if I put 1,000 customer names in it?
Yeah, one is what is called brief level also we can give, right, for rational related.
But if you're not maintaining subledger, if you're not maintaining
Mhm.
this reconciliation, if you're not grouping it, how do you represent your accounts receivable or the customer receivable amount, vendor
Yeah,
payable amount
it
on
will
your balance sheet?
go lengthy level.
It will go with the customer wise, it will go vendor wise, correct?
Correct.
Now, if it is going as it is customer wise, if it is going as it is vendor wise, your balance sheet size will become huge.
Correct.
Only for updating customer vendor, you may need some 100 pages or 200 pages. Now, nobody will accept it. So that is why this is not from SAP point of view. This is from your basic accounting point of view. Even when you prepare your financials in balance sheet, we never write customer name. We only write sundry debtors, sundry creditors. Correct?
Correct.
When you talk about sundry debtors, you are talking about multiple debitors. When you talk about sundry creditors, you are talking about multiple vendors. Now, who are the multiple vendors? I need to go down to a subledger accounting, wherein I will get to know each customer name, each vendor name, what I sold, what I purchased. Now, this breakup is required or not?
Yes.
Now, for you to maintain this breakup, now this is the accounting requirement from the accounting principle or accounting standard perspective. So, no application is an exception to it. Similarly, even in SAP, when you deal with any customer, any vendor, you have to deal with accounts payable, accounts receivable. This is a separate module from accounting itself, not from SAP. Correct? Considering that what you are doing, SAP, what it will do, SAP says, I cannot split your profit center at customer level. I cannot split your profit center at vendor level. In short, for Subledger, your profit center field is not editable. When you post any entry next time, check whatever you do, you cannot make profit center field editable for customer. You cannot make profit center field editable for vendor. Your profit center for customer, profit center for vendor is always derived based on the document splitting functionality. The main purpose of your document splitting is to derive the profit center for subledger accounting, not for the main ledger. Because when you pass any entry in the main ledger, every time you have profit center field editable. Correct?
Correct.
So if you are claiming that I am trying to pass a GL entry, my entry is not getting split, I will not see anything. I will simply tell you go put profit center here. I will tell you left profit center field blank. Please fill it up. It will accept the entry. Am I correct?
Correct.
On the other side, if you are trying to record an entry in the subledger, you are ready to put the profit center, but system is not allowing you to put profit center because for subledger, profit center field is disabled. It will get split. It will get split during posting. So what system will do? It will take your customer associated reconciliation GL account based on what kind of offsetting you are taking. Because you cannot post debit and credit the way you want when your document splitting is active. It will validate what kind of entries you are posting. Now you have these points we have listed, right? Item categories.
Yes.
Only selected item categories are allowed to be offset. If the different offsetting accounts are coming into the picture, system will not split the document. It will not derive the profit center. So that is where you have to work more with the document splitting. We need to understand functionality. If you take from any SAP FICO interview point of view, irrespective of your level of experience, they will put question on document splitting.
Correct.
Now, if it is straightforward, what you can maintain, if you look at the config point of view, there are only 3 to 4 settings. The rest and all standard SAP functionality, correct?
Yeah.
Apart from basic mapping, everything is a standard functionality, but whether a fresher or a 10-year experienced candidate will receive a mandatory question on the document splitting because this is something conceptual related, logic based. They will check whether you are conceptually clear with the splitting functionality or whether you are understanding on what basis system is splitting your documents, whether you are able to tell me that you are splitting because of this reason, like your TB P&L balance sheet. Whatever you answer, if you are not representing trial balance, P&L balance sheet, in short financial statement and this profit center, whatever we answer will not hold any value in your interview. When we pass the entries, I'll show practically errors with the document splitting, why the errors are coming, how system is splitting this entry. Practically, we will see all these points. Clear?
Yeah. So those item categories are default one, or else customization also will be there, sir.
This is standard. We will not create anything default in this. These are all standard.
So in
Because
there
these
we are
things,
mapping with the
will
GL
meet
level, account group level. Sorry,
GL level,
only GL level.
only GL. Because your account group
So
contains the GL range
correct.
at GL level.
Okay.
Sir, you have mentioned here the financial statement, TB, P&L, and balance sheet into 4 level. Next, company code, professional segment, business area. Is there any other level to generate the report like TB, P&L, balance sheet, like cost center wise or business place wise, something like that?
Hmm. Apart from this, if these are called as the scenarios. These are called as what?
Scenarios.
Scenarios. In standard, you will find the 6 scenarios. But apart from these 3, nobody uses any other thing. You can add 3 more scenarios at which you can generate your financial statements. But these are the standard 3 points that we will be using. From these 3, majoritarily what is used is only profit center and segment. Even business area, we don't use it.
As a total,
Even if
there are
somebody
6 levels. Okay.
total there are 6. Yes. These 6 are called as scenarios. On SAP,
What
when
is
we are working, I'll show this.
What are the remaining 2 levels, sir?
Those are not relevant now. Remember only these 3.
Okay.
Those I'll show when we are configuring the document splitting. At that time, I will show 6. What are those 6 scenarios? What are the remaining ones? We don't use it. Even if somebody is asking you, you just need to tell the number 6. There are 6 scenarios. That is fine.
Okay, sir. And
And
sir, what is the purpose
Ajay,
of document splitting? Document splitting is helpful to see the report, to generate the report in a better way. That is the
Yes,
main purpose for document splitting, right, sir?
correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
and sir, in item category level, there is a vendor and customers also item category there, right, sir?
Right.
So what is it means exactly? Is it subledger
Subledger
level?
account. Subledger. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
Hello.
is a possible to document splitting it as a subledger level, right? So it.
Correct. Correct. Yes, and go ahead.
Uh, Actually, the question is regarding client is having currently the ECC system, okay, and the client wants to shift to S4HANA, okay, and in ECC system, they are not using document splitting, and in
Okay.
S4HANA, while transferring to the S4HANA, the profit center document splitting is mandatory. Okay, so but the problem is coming like the client is using the utility, that is the FICA module. Okay, and in
Okay.
FICA, profit center is not required for posting any documents. Okay,
Okay.
so any document posted in utility industry is posted without any profit center, but whenever the entry is passed to the this is the R3 model, that means the GL accounts, okay, while transferring
Okay.
the data from the ISU to the GL account, line item zero balance clearing account is created, okay, that is at the profit center level. So will it be any impact for this financial statement, because the financial statements are drawn on the basis at the company code level? The company is not drawing any financial statements on profit center basis. So whenever entry is transferred, zero balance clearing account is created in the transfer entry. So what will be the impact on company code level in financial statement for this scenario?
if your zero balance clearing account is coming into picture, with that there is no financial impact.
Okay.
If that zero balance clearing account is not coming, that is where the impact will come, because your zero balance clearing account is coming to offset debit credit at profit center level. Sometimes what will happen, one side you may have profit center, on the other side you may not have profit center. Now in your utilities, system is not taking profit center at all, correct?
Yes.
Now without this profit center in your HANA environment, the entry is not allowed. No profit center, no document. That you are aware, right?
Yes, but in HANA also, suppose we are shifted to HANA system, okay, and HANA system is live now, okay,
Okay.
and whenever we pass the entry in new system also, profit center is not mandatory for us, but profit center is mandatory in R3. That means the at GL level.
Right. But when you look at any document which is posted, you
Okay.
are seeing additional line items with profit center or zero balance clearing with profit center.
This scenario is coming only when the entry is transferred from the IOC to the GL account. Basically, the whatever this FICA model is working like, we are posting the entries to the customer account, that is the debtors account. Okay, customer
Okay.
account backend reconciliation account is linked like debtors account, and the entry is posted with the use of main and sub transactions. Okay, and at the level of main and sub transaction, there is no view of cost center, profit center, business area are not required. Okay, these type of objects come into effect only when the entry is transferred from IOC to GL account. So
Okay.
while transferring to the GL account, this zero balance clearing account is scenario is coming.
All right. This is because when you are moving it to GL, if there is no profit center, your GL will not accept the entry. Now,
Okay.
at the end, for
Yes.
your reporting purpose, you are not submitting the reports, you're not making the reports at your ISU level. You are moving the data, or you're converting data from ISU to your R3, which is your GL, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So in this process, your profit center becomes mandatory. Even if you look at this from the payroll point of view, if you run payroll in your SAP system, there are certain entries which will get processed in payroll. In payroll, there are certain accounts which are basically your clearing accounts. These clearing accounts will not require any profit center, especially if you open payroll related postings in your company code. Just go to the document type, whatever is used for your payroll posting. If you look
Okay.
at those entries, even though it is posted in GL account, you will not find profit center. There will be no
Okay.
profit center, but entry will get posted. But if you pass any other entry without profit center, it will not allow you to record. Because in the SAP, for certain functionalities, they program it at the program level from backend, they will give the relaxations. Like these kind of transactions, these kind of postings will not determine or will not take the profit center. Because at the end, this GL account will become zero.
Okay.
So these accounts are used only for moving the data from one place to other place, or in short, you call it as waiting account, control accounts, right?
Okay. But these kind of account, suppose the for any kind of entry, zero balance clearing account is created. Okay. But the company is drawing financial statement at the company code level. They are not bothered to get the financial statement at the profit center level. So is there any financial impact at company code level for this?
No, there will be no financial impact. Whatever the zero balance clearing account that you are getting, if you
Yes.
just go to GL balance report, FAGLB03,
Okay.
okay, pass this zero balance clearing account and then run the report. At any given point of time, it will give you zero.
Okay, okay. So that means only in GL, that means document view, we can see zero balance clearing account, but there will not be any financial impact. That means any kind of pending debit or pending credit will not be there in zero balance clearing account.
Correct. That is not considered at all.
Okay.
because
Okay.
that is used only for balancing your entries according to HANA environment. Because there, if there is no profit center, your entry is not allowed. It will throw error.
Okay.
For you
And
to
yes.
for you to push the entry to your GL environment, you need to bring this what you call this profit center clearing account or zero balance clearing account. No exception, no alternative for it. That is the only solution.
Okay. And without activating document splitting in HANA, we cannot go live?
No, in HANA document splitting is mandatory.
Okay. Okay.
Document
Thank you.
splitting is mandatory, but profit center is not mandatory. You cannot say that profit center is not mandatory. You can say document splitting is activated, but you are not using profit center. But
Okay.
these settings are enabled keeping future in mind. Let's say today you may not need it, but tomorrow you may be needing it, right?
Yes.
But later on, if you want this, now if you are activating at a later point of time, your historical data will create a big problem. So that is why in future they may be adding additional products where they may need the separate profitability at profit center level.
And another question is like this zero balance clearing account. These are the entries in which table these are stored?
Normal only. Normal AC, DOCA, BSIC, Waggle, Flexer, there only it will get stored.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, even if I implement in test practice time, so even I activated document splitting and configuration also, even system will ask some what is
Profit center?
no, this just now some GL account is talking, right?
Zero balance clearing
Clearing
account.
zero balance clearing account. Why is system asking even if I activated those levels,
This
balance
is
sheet level,
because
expense level?
if your debit credit not matching at profit center level, let's say I put a debit, I put a credit, but debit I am giving to car, credit I am giving it to bike. Both levels I have given
Okay.
profit center, but debit credit profit center, it is not matching, correct? Huh?
Sorry, can I
When
again repeat?
let's say I put debit to car profit center,
Hmm.
okay, I put credit to my bike profit center. Is this clear?
Hmm. Yeah.
Now we understood profit center level balance must become zero. If I look at car debit is 100, but there is no credit for car. Agree?
Oh, yeah, got it.
So in this situation, to balance credit for car and to balance debit for bike, it will bring zero balance clearing account.
Okay.
So all these scenarios practically we will experiment. Don't worry.
Okay.
At that time, all the questions that runs in your mind, I will only write all the questions. I'll give different assignments, experiments to be done.
And one more thing, sir. So when we create chart of account level, we are giving the naming convention account group level. So then creating the GL. Okay. So when you assign in the master level, so suppose customer, so we are giving the reconciliation account some GL name. So that GL name is we are creating reconciliation account for accounts receivable or directly accounts receivable, sir.
Sorry, I missed your question. Sorry. Please repeat it again. Sorry for it.
So in the financial statement balance sheet level, so we have seen like sundry creditors, sundry debtors, or account receivables, accounts payable, right?
Right.
So when you update and create in time for GL level, GL account, so we have to create accounts receivable, accounts payable separate instead of reconciliation account.
What do you mean by separate? It will be a GL account. In the control data, you will flag it as reconciliation for vendor, reconciliation for customer. It will be created as normal GL account only. The way you create cash, the way you create a bank, in the similar way you create accounts payable, accounts receivable. But in the control data, there is a field called account type for reconciliation. If it is your
Okay,
subledger, you select
got it,
K, you
got it.
select D, that one.
Hmm. Yeah, 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 got it, got it. Okay, this is the cloud level also different ways there. So account, GL
Cloud, I'll
account
have to check and
types.
tell because I've not worked on any cloud projects. All I can tell you is with my generic assumption, but I have to check and then tell you if anything is related to cloud.
Okay, and regarding to this video, sir, can you update in one folder itself because of
I'll do it. I'll do it.
uh,
Now we're yet to start config and all, right? So I'm sharing the links, but slowly I'll update. I'll get a folder created because what we will do, even if we put it in Google Drive, because of the length of our videos, it'll Google Drive also will not support. That gives you only for 15 GB or so.
okay,
If you take the sessions from overview sessions till date, your Google Drive will not be sufficient to store these videos
okay.
because each video will come approximately 300 MB, 400 MB.
Can you update in YouTube level and access something will be there?
That I'm seeing, but I'm not able to update more than 50 or something. That I'll have to explore. My plan
Okay.
is to upload in YouTube as private videos, and then I'll share the access to all your email IDs.
Yeah, that is better only. Whenever we need, we can go see.
Yeah, because instead of you storing somewhere and losing it, but this is better option that I'll do something for this.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, by the time we start our actual configs and all, so we'll have a solution for it.
And one more thing, sir. So we need some industry level of configuration also need. So we are talking about product manufacturing industry right now. So
Yes, there
service
is
level
not this
separate,
industry
retail
level
level.
configuration
Mhm.
majoritarily comes from the specific module, not from the finance. Finance is common for everyone. We're talking
Okay.
about manufacturing, your PP consultant will play a major role there. And if you're working on product costing COPA, there you may have to work on different scenarios. But from the finance point of view, irrespective of the industry level, the finance process is fixed, right? If you're talking about, let's say, purchasing side, your may have different scenarios. Based on that you may be having different integration scenarios.
Okay. Oil and gas industry level something is also same.
This is complete special package. Like these are all like IS modules, industry specific utility, industry specific retail, industry specific your real estate. These are all different.
Yeah, but I understand. But means what I'm asking. So we need to practice on the industry level. Then only we will get some
Not required.
experiments. Not required.
Well, we
Okay.
don't get that server also in the market. Even if you ask for those servers, they will give the same server that you're using. They'll tell you can work in this.
Okay.
Because from those
Okay.
specific module, data will get shifted to your accounting for the consolidation for your financial purpose.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you, sir.
All right,
Hello, sir.
fine then. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, any chance to time regarding e-invoicing and e-way billing? Have you checked that, sir?
That just remind me tomorrow morning. I'll check and explain you that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Hey sir, Ajay sir.
Yes, Ishwar.
Yeah, hi sir. Good evening. Sir, I have shared you on screenshot through WhatsApp. I got stuck there only. If you have time.
Yeah, I saw your screenshot. I'll check and then I'll reply to you. I didn't get time to look into the messages and then reply. I'll check and then respond to your message.
Yeah, fine sir. If you have time, I will just share my screen 2 minutes.
No, your voice is very low, Ishwar.
Yeah, if you have time, sir, I will share my screen in 2 minutes. Then we'll close it if you have time. Once done with the recording.
Yeah, okay. You're with system now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am in system.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Once we stop this recording, I'll make you presenter. You can share. We'll check.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, then let me stop this recording.